The Future Student TV. Inspiring people with a vision about the future.
Today we're here at the Future Student with Mitchell Esajas, founder of Urban Collective and Seed for Growth. He's actually a social entrepreneur. And today we will talk about the future of social entrepreneurship. Hi Mitchell, nice that you're here. Well, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Mitchell Esajas indeed. I'm a co-founder of New Urban Collective. It's a network for students, young professionals from diverse cultural backgrounds. And besides that, I'm also co-founder of Seed for Growth, which is a social enterprise focused on creating more sustainable development initiatives and projects.
Right. Here in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, we started in Amsterdam, and our aim is to grow towards conquering the rest of the Netherlands
And the world.
And the world, of course.
Wow, that sounds very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about the future of entrepreneurship. And I understood that you are very passionate about social entrepreneurship. You're a real social entrepreneur, right?
Well, I aspire to be, indeed. I've got a background in anthropology and business administration. I started with a bachelor's in business administration, actually. But during my studies, actually quite early in my studies, I think the second year, I kind of got fed up with, the focus on just profit maximization and focus on, the economics of, business, which of course is very important to keep your business sustainable. But I thought there was a lack of, attention for the other side of business, the social aspects of business, the ecological aspects of business, the human aspects of business.
Right.
So I started with studies in anthropology, and during my studies I started to develop different or get engaged in different initiatives here in Amsterdam, also in Suriname.
What sort of initiatives?
In Suriname, I did a study and a project about the way in which a fund could be developed, which could be used as a catalyst to develop economic initiatives and businesses with the funds.
A financial fund.
A financial fund.
Okay, right.
Funded by the profits gained from the natural resources which are excavated in Suriname.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
you were responsible for, or partly responsible for creating that fund, or
I was a researcher, so it was a explorative research project which was started by students both from Amsterdam and Suriname, and actually the Central Bank of Suriname is now developing it and initiating the actual fund, which is very nice and interesting to see. But besides that, I also got engaged in a few local projects where from a students organization we try to stimulate and inspire youth to get engaged in entrepreneurship. And that's when I really found I think my passion to be involved in these kinds of both local and global projects which are focused on a real need from society, from people in a country or within a city.
And not just about making more money.
And not just
right?
about making money, but making money is of course a very important part of sustainable business.
Money makes the world go round, right?
They say that. They say that indeed, yeah.
So, very interesting story about where your background as social entrepreneur comes from. So, what happened for you to become a social entrepreneur? But now, why do you think social entrepreneurship is so important for your professional life and for the future of the world in general? Like, what do you think?
Well, for myself personally, I think it's important that people get the opportunity to develop and realize their full potential. I think I'm very blessed. I got a lot of opportunities to develop myself Whilst when I look at my mother, for example, she used to tell me stories about herself growing up in a small village in Suriname. They had to walk for miles and miles, walk and work on the land of my grandfather before she had to go to school. She migrated here to the Netherlands, where I got a lot of opportunities to go to school, and I ended up at the university as the first in my family. And that really gave me the opportunity to find my passion, develop my talents. And I think that if a lot of people from these different backgrounds get these opportunities, both themselves and the world can benefit from that. Because if you develop your full potential, if you find what it is that makes you excel, you are also able to really make an impact on your environment, to really contribute to a better world.
Right. So you see social entrepreneurship as a means to make sure that more people can get the opportunities to develop their full potential. Is that correctly interpreted?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So what I mean is that I think that social entrepreneurship allows you as a entrepreneur, as a person, to have a impact on the people around you within your environment, and it allows you to enable and empower people to have an impact as well. And I think the difference between social entrepreneurship and the regular kind of entrepreneurship is that regular entrepreneurs are more focused on the profit, on themselves.
Right.
Which also means that instead of enabling and empowering other people, they often can inhibit or disempower others for their own benefit.
Okay, so what I'm very curious about is how do you see the future of social entrepreneurship in this world?
That's a very big question.
I
could look into the future, but I think you can already see a few very interesting developments happening in our daily lives and in our own environment. I think that on the one hand we see a movement from the traditional business models, which are focused on consumption, selling as much products as fast as possible, to
new products,
exactly. To increasing or enlarging market. Whilst I think that in the future we will move towards a business model and an economy which is more based on sharing instead of individual consumption.
Right.
To give one example is that most of us are still used to owning our own cars, and most of us aspire to have a brand new, very nice car, which
of course,
very speedy. Well, I think there's a very interesting model, the concept of car to go, where
it's a concept here in the region, or
it's not just here in Amsterdam, but also in other cities like London, Berlin, Milan.
Okay.
And it's a innovation developed by Mercedes, where you can become a member. You pay a certain fee to become a member of the car to go organization.
Right.
You can download the app on your smartphone. When you log in, you can see where there are some car to goes, which are the small
pickup points.
Yeah, exactly. Where there are pickup points to get a car to go in your neighborhood. So if you feel the need to to have a car to move you from A to B quickly, just log in on your phone, make a reservation, and you pay for the minutes that you use the car instead of for the ownership of a car, which causes a lot of
environmental damage. So where I'm curious about this, because this is a concept started by Mercedes, which is a car manufacturer themselves. How would it be in the interest of Mercedes to start such a concept? Because their interest might still be profit maximization, right?
To sell as much cars as possible.
Exactly. So they're also becoming social entrepreneur.
I think you see different developments. On the one hand, they continue on the path, to sell, cars to consumers,
Exactly.
but they develop the cars in a more sustainable way. For example, they've got a few new models where the engine is hybridized, so it runs partly on gas and for another part on electricity. Also, on the other hand, they also see the opportunity to develop a sharing, economy for the cars, where people pay for use instead of pay for ownership.
Right.
And the more people make use of this, that subscribe to this concept,
to this
the
community,
sharing concept, this community. Indeed, you can see it as a community, a sharing community. The more profit they can gain in the end.
Okay.
So I think it can be a win-win situation for the environment, for the consumer, and for the business.
So they see it as a way to reach a different market of people who wouldn't buy their brand new cars, but who would be able financially to use their car-to-go cars, and to promote the brand for the moment that in the future these users would be able to buy a new car. Is that right?
I think we don't have to. The one doesn't have to go without the other.
All right.
I think there are people who are able to afford a brand new car, but out of their own, ideals, or ethics, or morals, or out of plain, economic rationale, they choose to use the car to go.
Right.
A concept instead of owning their own car, because it can save them costs on the long run, and they don't have to pay for the maintenance of the car. They don't have to pay for the humongous parking fees, in cities like Amsterdam and Berlin. So it brings a lot of benefits to share a car instead of owning a car.
Right.
Whilst at the same time it also provides a lot of benefits for the environment.
Yeah, I see. So in a business sense, it's a move for Mercedes to kind of move into a new market, which will take a little bit of their usual market, namely purchasing new cars. So do you have other examples of, because we now have talked about car-to-go here in Amsterdam and other European cities, do you have other examples of social enterprises which also actually make some money?
I think another very interesting example and a very promising initiative is the company Tony's Chocolonely's, which is a company with a mission not to necessarily make a profit, but to have a sustainable impact on the cocoa industry.
Okay.
I don't know if you know it, probably.
Yeah. I've seen the bars in all the shops on the train stations.
That's a good idea. You like chocolate?
Oh man, I love chocolate. Okay. Yeah.
Most people love chocolate. Most people love chocolate. They eat chocolate on a daily basis, or they drink it on the cocoa milk. But a lot of people don't know the story behind chocolate. They don't know that 60% of the world's cocoa come from just two countries, Ghana and the Ivory Coast in West Africa. They don't know that most of that cocoa is shipped to Amsterdam, the harbors here in Amsterdam, where it's distributed to different companies like Verkade, and a few other companies.
Right. Big companies, huh?
Very big companies, big multinationals who make a lot of money. Mars, everybody knows it, Twix, with their candy bars and other chocolate products. Whilst on the other hand, the people that work on the land to produce these basic ingredients, the cocoa beans, the farmers on the land in Ghana and the Ivory Coast have never even tasted a drop of chocolate, because they simply don't have the money and the means to buy such a product.
Right.
And a company like Tony's Chocolonely has a mission to, on the one hand, make the practice of producing cocoa more sustainable, because of the lack of resources, the lack of capital amongst the farmers. They produce the cocoa in very unsustainable ways, which actually jeopardizes the production of cocoa.
Exactly.
And on the other hand, they just don't get fair prices. You know, they work hours and hours on the land. Sometimes, unfortunately, they even use child labor to survive. But they don't get a decent price which allows them to live in a way that we would find acceptable.
They don't get a fair wage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what this company has done, or what they are doing, is that they source the cocoa directly from cocoa cooperatives, what they call them. These are corporations formed by the farmers in Africa.
Okay.
Where these people get training, they get educated about
unions, sort of.
Yeah, you can kind of see it as a union, but you can also see it as a business, because they cooperate as farmers within this cooperation, and just like a union, indeed, they
to
try
increase
to get
their bargaining power.
Indeed, they try to increase their bargaining power to get a more fair price. To develop and produce the cocoa in more sustainable ways. So on the one hand, you have better prices for the farmers in Africa, and on the other hand, you've got a company like Tony Chocolonely, which sells it like any other company here in Holland. You can find it in the Albert Heijn, and you can even find it in the universities, in the shops. But people are willing to pay a premium price for Tony Chocolonely chocolate because it's what they call a fair trade or a sustainable.
So they bought it directly from the union, so to say, from these organizations, in which the farmers are united. However, how is it different from how the process normally goes? Because normally it would go from the unions to the big chocolate cocoa company?
Not exactly.
All right.
So between the farmers working on the land and the big chocolate companies like Mars and Avocado, there are a lot of different
middlemen.
Stakeholders and middlemen indeed, who also take a piece of the chocolate bar.
Exactly.
For example, within Ghana, within Africa, you have these local buyers, let's call them that. So they don't work with cooperatives, but with individual farmers who don't have any bargaining power. So they are almost forced to sell their cocoa for a very low price.
For a very low price.
And these local buyers, they sell all of the cocoa that they buy from the farmers for a very low price to the companies who produce the raw ingredients, which are used by the big chocolate companies to produce their cocoa. So there are a lot of different players within that.
Within the chain.
Within the cocoa chain, within the value chain. And the company like Tony Chocolonely directly sources the key ingredients from the cocoa farmers, but also their sugar and other ingredients, which allows them to give them a better price, and it allows them to observe and control the quality and the circumstances under which these cocoa beans are produced.
So this is a true social enterprise, you would say.
I think so. They do have a way to go. It's not 100% sustainable yet because of the structure of this industry, but they are on the right way. And I think it's very promising and inspiring initiative. That's also the reason why we cooperated with them. As I said earlier, I'm one of the founders of Seed for Growth. And one of the aims of this foundation is to increase the awareness and to educate young people about the importance of sustainability.
Right.
So what we did was that we set up a mentoring program here in Amsterdam Southeast, or actually a summer school, where we had about 20 children who engaged in a boot camp where they had to develop their own social enterprises.
Nice.
So we teach the children how to set up their own business. We took them to the chocolate factory of Tony Chocolonely. We teach them about the cocoa value chain, how chocolate bar is produced from a cocoa bean, what the different stakeholders are and what their interests are, and how they as potential entrepreneurs can make an impact on their own environment and on the lives of these farmers and the children that have to work on these farms by developing and selling their own sustainable cocoa bars.
Nice.
That was a very nice project to work on.
So, do you think the kids in Seed for Growth project were they attracted by the perspective of social entrepreneurship?
I think if I would ask them now, if they would like to be a social entrepreneur, we actually ask them. A lot of them would say yes.
Right.
Whilst in the beginning, I think a lot of these children were aged 10, 12, 14 years old, didn't even know the concept of social entrepreneurship.
I see. They thought entrepreneurship only had to do with business, making money, etc. Because those two together, I mean, in the future we would hope that more people start to be social entrepreneur, because that would be better for the earth and the sustainability of the earth. But do you think it's going to fit together? More social enterprises which actually make money, and do you have some examples of social enterprises who actually make money?
Actually, my hope is that in the future we won't need to use the term social entrepreneur anymore. My hope is that every entrepreneur will be inherently more aware of the social impact and environmental impact of their business, because I think now in the perception of a lot of people, these things are mutually exclusive. You're either social or you're a businessman.
Right.
Whilst I think there are more and more examples of businesses who are able to show that it is possible to combine these two, these two ways of doing business.
Right.
And to answer your question, are there examples of social entrepreneurs who do make a profit? I think, Tony Chocolonely is a good example.
Yeah, they're doing well.
They're doing very well. They're
That's
expanding
nice.
to the United States.
Wow.
I think this spring, the spring of 2015. We already talked about Car2Go, which is a very profitable concept.
Exactly.
They started in a few cities and they're expanding to different cities across the world already as well.
And
So
I heard that Peerby, the sharing company, which the Dutch sharing company, also from Amsterdam, which facilitates a sharing platform, also got a nice business model lately.
Yeah.
And then I think we have Snapcar. Have you heard of it?
Uber. I've heard of it. Haven't used it yet myself. Right. But you see more and more of these, small initiatives growing because, they show there is profit in being conscious of the environment.
Right. I see. But I like your perspective on social entrepreneurship, on the future of social entrepreneurship. Basically, you're saying social entrepreneurship won't be social anymore because it's just entrepreneurship, and every company is going to be a social enterprise.
I hope so. We have a long way to go. Let me be clear. I know that there are a lot of businesses who still have some ways of doing business which cannot be considered very
very
positive
social,
for the environment. And I think the mindset of people also needs to change. It's also, it takes a particular mindset, a particular way of looking at the world, which allows you to see these business opportunities. And that's really one of my missions with Seed for Growth, to open people's eyes for these, possibilities of both making a profit whilst making an impact on the world.
Exactly, because money is still what makes us be able to live, what makes us be able to go to a restaurant every now and then, what makes us be able to go on a holiday, to do the things in life that we really enjoy. So there should be a way to combine those two, right?
Yeah,
to be
definitely.
social
Yeah.
and to earn some money.
Absolutely.
That would be great if all businesses achieve it.
Absolutely.
I like the vision.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing I would advise is to really make use of the opportunities that this 21st century brings with it. Even 10 years ago, it wasn't possible to, take your smartphone out of your pocket and go on Google and have access to, the rest of the world actually. There's so much knowledge, there's so much, there are all these networks are available within, the reach of our own pockets.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is to think critically. If you are aware of these issues of sustainability, develop knowledge about it, try to see how you as a social entrepreneur can spot the opportunity which allows you to make an impact on your own environment and make a profit at the same time. You can experiment, start small, start doing your studies, besides your studies with, just like you are doing, you're studying now, but you already started with your own organization and you have a vision in your mind, but you just start small with one camera, but who knows, it can grow to 10 or 100 cameras in a few years. If you have a vision, stick with it. Don't let anyone, stop you with their negativity and insecurity. Always just think positive and really try to spot these opportunities and dare to, have the courage to actually take action and change the world. It starts with you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and stay
you too.
tuned for the next Future Student.
The Future Student TV. Inspiring people with a vision about the future.